Hello! Today I'll be doing something a little bit different since I haven't really been able to do much astrophotography as of late due to the return of cloudy weather. April is a hit or miss kind of month here in the upper Midwest, and this year it was definitely more of the latter, unfortunately. So instead, I'm going to take a step back and begin a new series where I show you images of every Messier object I have taken so far in my quest to complete my Messier Catalog collection. So, without any further ado, let's get started. M1, commonly known as the Crab Nebula. This is a nebula that I attempted capturing for the first time back in late 2020, right after I had acquired my DSLR camera. I tried again the following year, but as you can clearly see, I have a ways to go with this project, and I definitely want to reattempt it this coming fall if the weather cooperates. Late fall, which is the best time to view and photograph Crab Nebula, is unfortunately a tricky time of the year where I live due to the persistence of overcast weather. It seems like we have a lot of clear nights between mid-September and late October, but once we hit November and December, the cloudy pattern becomes very difficult to break. M2. This is a globular cluster located in the constellation Aquarius, which is best viewed in the late summer to early fall for those of us in the northern hemisphere. This result is just a few minutes of total exposure and is likely not one I will be returning to anytime soon, as it doesn't really capture much interest for me personally. M3. This globular cluster is in the constellation Canes Venatici. It is an ideal target for those of us in higher northern latitudes, as it is easily viewable throughout much of the year, particularly in the warm months. It is one of the brighter globular clusters, and it's definitely one of the easier targets to view an image for those who are under moderately to severely light-polluted skies. Personally, it's one of my favorite globs, second only to the Great Globular Cluster in Hercules. Would I go back to this target and capture more data? Quite possibly. I think it would be fun to compare M3 with M13 side by side if both have the same amount of total integration. Time will tell. M4. This is yet another summertime globular cluster, but unlike M3, it's not an easy target for those of us in higher northern latitudes, as the constellation Scorpius stays low in the southern horizon. Unless I ever have a chance to travel south for any particular reason, it's probably not worth revisiting this object anytime soon. I'll happily accept the few minutes of total integration that I have and leave it at that. M5. This is a globular cluster that is quite similar to M3, both in terms of its magnitude and apparent size. As far as visibility goes, it's likewise a summertime target that is easier to see than M4, yet not quite as easily as M3. It's probably not something that I will plan to revisit in the near future, but I'm not opposed to the idea either. M6. Finally, we catch a break from all the globs. This open cluster is often called the butterfly cluster, and the reason is, well, it resembles a butterfly. But if you live in higher northern latitudes like I do, be warned, it won't be an easy target to observe and photograph as it stays low in the southern horizon throughout the summer months. At least you likely won't be freezing your butt off if you do give it a try. M7, otherwise known as Ptolemy's cluster. It is one of the more difficult Messier objects to view in photographs since, as it turns out, it's the southernmost Messier object. But since it's a much larger target than M6, you'll definitely want to grab a short focal length camera lens or telescope to fully capture it. Otherwise, there's not really a whole lot more to say about it. M8. Oh yes, the Lagoon Nebula. This image features both M8 and M20 or Trifid Nebula, since shorter focal lengths can easily allow one to capture both together. This, along with M20, are definitely targets that I want to revisit this summer with my new imaging refractor once the Milky Way core becomes easily visible in the night sky. I've captured quite a bit of data on this target already using just my camera zoom lens, and this project is by no means truly finished. M9. This globular cluster is located in the constellation Ophiuchus, so it's best observed in image in the summer months. Like many of the globular clusters already mentioned, this one doesn't really pique my interest nearly to the degree that some of the other Messier objects do, so it's likely not a target that I'll be visiting anytime soon. M10. This globular cluster is best viewed in a time frame similar to M9 since it is located in the same constellation. but with its larger angular size and brighter magnitude, it should be a bit easier to image. This image is the result of a few minutes of total exposure, so just enough to capture the essence of it. I have yet to determine if I will return to this target to acquire more data. And that is all for today's video. We'll take a look at the next 10 objects in the Messier Catalog in a future video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more of this kind of content. Until next time, clear skies and cheers!